Okay. Isaac, get off your phone. Okay, so I'm going to review one more time. So if I look at the very first equation, first of all, a negative on the outside, that's a reflection over the x. So the next thing that is easy to fill in is the vertical shift, right? Because that comes from outside the parentheses, so I'm one up. Isaac. Okay, we'll wait for you to finish with your dad. Okay, so this column where it says horizontal stretch or horizontal compression, this is your B. That's the letter B from your equation. So what is the letter B this time? 2, right? So is 2 a horizontal stretch or horizontal compression? And so this is what I want you to remember. It's with the x. So x is a liar, right? So 2 is normally a stretch, so it's the opposite, so this is a horizontal compression. Okay? Yeah, so this will be HC. So what's the amplitude here? 1. And it's not negative because the negative is the reflection.
So is the amplitude
in front of the cosine.
Okay, so it has to be like it would have been it was on there to be -1 cos, right? Or would be negative cos 1.
What? So like this is a -1 right here, right?
Yeah.
But the amplitude is always positive. Yes. Okay. So next is the period. And first of all, is this going to be degrees or radians? Radians because it's an x. So what's the radian period of a cosine? 2 pi. And then we divide by our b, which is 2. So the period this time is pi. So this is what I want you to think about. When we start graphing, a normal cosine would start at 1, and it makes the little dip like this. So it goes 1 to 1, and it's 0 to 2 pi. This graph, what happened, it's not at 2 pi now. What's the whole entire thing shrunk down to? Pi, right? So the 1 and the 1 are at 0 and pi now because it's only the period is only pi. And this, the 1 up, wouldn't be at 0 now. It's shifted up 1, right? And so what's my phase shift here? There isn't one. The phase shift would be inside the parentheses here. So this is a none. Do I have a reflection this time? I do not. So no reflection. That's fine. None is that way I don't mess that up. That's good. My amplitude is 5. That goes here. So first of all, is this going to be radians or degrees? Radians. So the period has to be in 2 pi. So I need my b. And what's my b? 2. So I'm going to divide by 2. So my period is pi. So this time I have a phase shift, but the 2 is inside. It hasn't been factored out. And you can't do a phase shift till you factor out the 2. So this would be 5 cosine of 2 x plus pi over 2. So my phase shift is a negative pi over 2. And there is none for the vertical shift. Correct. Yes. 3. When do I use 180? When it's tangent. Okay. So, so on the next one, first of all, I told you what's the amplitude for tangent? There is none because it keeps going, right? So there is none here. But here's what I want you to think about. If we were doing a transformation and I'm going to graph the tangent, I have a point that's at 1. The y is 1. What does the 3 do to that point? What would do I multiply the 3 times the x or times the y? Inside is the x and outside is the y. So I would still multiply the y times 3, right? But the amplitude is none, but I would multiply my y column times 3. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, do I have a reflection here, guys? So inside the parentheses is negative, so this is over the y-axis. What's my b this time? 0.5 or a half, either one would be okay. So what did we say the period was for tangent? 180. This time we're using 180, and I'm going to divide by 0.5. So that would be like dividing by a half. So if you divide by a half, you flip it and multiply, so you get 360 here. Do I have a phase shift? None. And I went up 4. Okay, so how many of you're okay so far? I'm going to go ahead and do the one with the fractions, which is number 5. So the negative on the outside is a reflection over what? X. My b this time is 2/3. Yeah, I'm just going to do the fraction one. My amplitude is 1 because it's always positive. I know my vertical shift is down 3, right? That's easy. So next, is this in radians or degrees? Radians. So what is the 2 pi? So I'm going to put 2 pi here, and what do I divide by? 2/3. So this is what that looks like. So I'm going to have 2 pi divided by 2/3. So when I divide by a fraction, I have to flip it and multiply. So that's going to be 2 pi times 3/2. And if I put a 1 under it, if you need to, and then what happens to the 2's? And it leaves you with 3 pi. So my period is 3 pi. So next, do I have a phase shift? I do. Is the 2/3 already factored out? So I have to factor out the 2/3. So I have to take pi over 6 divided by 2/3. So then what do I do? Just flip it, right? So I get 3/2. And this cancels. So I end up with pi over 4. So this is a negative pi over 4. Okay, so I'm going to skip down and I'm going to write the equations now. On number 8, it says it's cosine. So I'm going to have a cosine. Bless you. So do I have an amplitude? That's the number in front. It's 1. Do I have to write a 1? Do I have a reflection? Okay, so it's all positive. So then here, this is 360. I mean 180.
Wait, wouldn't it be tangent?
What? It's supposed to be 360, right? So what did I do? I took 360 divided by what to get 180? 2. So that gives me a 2 here. So I use theta because it's in degrees. I'm going to subtract 60 and then add 4. On number 9 now you're going to use the sign. So write down on number 9 what you think it's going to look like and I'll give you the answer.
Number 9.
Yeah. What do you do there? What's it supposed to be? So what did you do there? What did you divide by? Okay. Okay, I'm going to you're almost right and I'll show you what you did wrong. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of you had the same question first of all, and then a couple of you wrote it a different way. So first of all, this is what we were talking about, Cardarius. You started writing it inside the parenthesis, and that's okay, but then you have to distribute to your phase shift also, which I think you hadn't done, but let's look. All right, so first of all, it's sine. And the amplitude is 2. And so I know I'm going to go down by 2. So I'm going to add that at the end. And so the next thing I'm going to look at is the period because I don't know my b. And so the period here is supposed to be 2 pi. And what did I divide by? 3. So my b is 3. So if you put that 3, you have to put it on the outside. And if you don't put it on the outside, you have to distribute the 3 to the pi. So you get 2 pi over 3 minus pi. Oh, wait. No, this is x. Yeah. This is x, guys. Sorry, x. Yeah, it's x. Sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I just recopied. I'm sorry. That was me. It's an x. Sorry. We put the 3 on the outside and it's x. Right. So if you put 3x, then you would have to put minus 3 pi. And you would still get it right. Okay? Marvin, do you see? So this here is supposed to be 2 pi. I divided by 3, so that is my b. So it goes on the outside. So I'm going to put x here. I wrote the 2 pi over 3, sorry. And then subtract the pi, because that's your phase shift, and then minus 2. Okay, how many of you are okie dokie?